This podcast was recorded during the 2023 WGA and SAG-AFTRA strikes. Without the labor of the writers and actors currently on strike, the series being covered here would not exist.
Welcome to the Artie's Attic Warehouse 13 Fancast, where a steampunk girl, a lifelong sci-fi fan, and a rocket scientist chat about the popular 2009 sci-fi series. There's never a dull moment with the agents dedicated to protect humankind from unexplained phenomena that manifest their powers in special objects. And there's all those friendships and relationships along the way. Grab a cookie while you can. Hope you don't smell fudge. Gear up with your Farnsworth, Tesla, and neutralizer, and let's have some fun by snagging it, bagging it, and tagging it. Welcome back to Artie's Attic, the Warehouse 13 Fancast. I'm the Warehouse 13 janitor, which means I'm the one responsible to clean up after Claudia's repair sessions. I'm SP. And the lead Artie's Attic agent tonight, who is responsible for getting us some off-Broadway show tickets during our New York City stay, is Shannon.
Hello, guys. What?
And featuring Shannon's rookie partner with her eye firmly placed on Jeff Weaver's assets is Agent Carolyn.
Okay,
Yeah.
sure. I would, yeah, definitely. Most definitely.
On this show, we're going to continue our discussion that premiered on the show 6 years before SpaceX landed a rocket back on Earth. It's Warehouse 13, Season 1, Episode 5, Elements, which premiered on August 11th, 2009. Shannon, how'd you like this episode?
Well, I like almost all of the episodes, but I liked that. Well, first of all, Mr. Weaver was very nice looking. I just blank on his name from Stargate.
Joe Flanagan.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yes, Joe Flanagan. He's a cute guy.
He is. He is nice to look at. Yes.
I like the commentary that Micah and Pete have when he gets pushed out of the van and then she's sitting in the hospital. You could tell, again, I always say this, but I like the further we get into these episodes, the more of the friendship that you start to see that it develops between them two. And then on the flip side of this, you're getting to see now that Claudia is actually being invited into the warehouse. And then you're going to see that friendship that develop. And then Joe Flanagan. So,
Yes. I mean, it's not bad eye candy. I mean, she was wanting to be on a date, right? They both were talking about being on dates. It was kind of funny. We can't find out anything if you're on a date.
yeah.
Batter up.
Until she flips open the button on her holster.
Yeah. I don't like it when my dates lie to me.
That's the man. That's the Mike I want to date.
I could see Shannon doing this. That would be Shannon.
And I could see Joe going, all right, I like this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Haven't tried this before.
It would be me if Micah said, if she did that, I'd be like, here, you can cuff me. But that's just me.
So how much do you know about Joe Flanagan outside of Stargate?
I think I saw him. He was here in Portland for a while. He's actually very active in politics, which I didn't think he would be, but he actually is.
He started his career, his overall career. So he started his first job was working in politics as an advanced man at the White House.
Really?
Yep. And then it was followed by a stint at Andy Warhol's Interview magazine until finally he was settling in at Stanford Meisner's Neighborhood Playhouse in New York. So he went into acting there. He was quickly cast in several NBC projects and eventually put under contract there as a series regular for NBC's Sisters alongside Sella Ward and Swoosie Kurtz. I never watched Sisters. Did either of you two?
No. I don't even know what that is.
I don't know. This was followed with another series regular role. He was on First Monday on CBS, and then he was cast in The Other Sister, along with Diane Keaton, Juliette Louise, and Giovanni Ribisi, and that was a movie.
Never heard of this stuff.
Yeah. Neither did I, but I remember seeing The Other Sister because I think one of my ex-wives was listening to that or watching that or whatever. So,
One of your ex-wives?
Yeah.
How many ex?
Okay, let's
That's another podcast.
Let's talk about Joe here. Some of Joe's other TV credits include multiple recurring roles on Dawson's Creek, Cupid, Providence, Profiler, and Women's Murder Club, and was the star of Stargate Atlantis, playing the role of Colonel John Shepard, which went into international syndication with 100 episodes. He's only accredited for 99 episodes. I don't remember how many episodes Stargate Atlantis actually had. So here's a question for you. Have you seen him in anything lately?
No, and I think when people asked him at the con that we were at, he's actually back into politics.
I don't think he does television anymore.
He has an adorable dog too.
Have you taken a look at his IMDb recently?
No.
Well, I mean, I did see him several years ago.
I could have swore I saw him in an episode of The X-Files one time.
From 2019 through 2022, he was in 81 episodes of General Hospital.
No.
From what years?
Well,
What
that
years?
would be why I'd never see him, because I don't watch them.
Neither do I. 2019 through 2022.
Oh, no. If it was early, I would have seen all of them.
And then in 2021 through 2022, he was in 5 episodes with his co-star, Jason Momoa, in C.
I have not watched C. I know that's on Apple TV,
C
but I
as
haven't watched it.
the letter C?
S-E-E. No, S-E-E. As in I see you.
I haven't seen, no.
Yeah, it's a bunch of blind people, actually. Like, society has crashed because it's blind, I believe. It's a dystopian future sort of thing. So I have not watched it, but I knew he was on there. I knew Jason Momoa was on there. I did not know that Joe Flanagan was on there. So
Neither
that was
did I.
news to
Well,
me.
they're best friends in real life. They were best friends in real life when they were doing Stargate.
Mm-hmm.
They used to be roommates together, I believe.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, when they first started the show.
He was also in an episode of Fringe, and he's got 43 total acting credits to his name. So yeah, he's done some stuff, active in politics, active in the acting, and then apparently in like media as well. So Joe's got the stuff going. This is his one and only appearance, unfortunately, in Warehouse 13.
Yep. Well, I mean, how do you top that episode, really? You're already a rich guy that has to...
And he didn't turn out to be a bad guy, like they so often do.
He was not a bad guy. Yep.
So Shannon, got any history with this one that popped into your mind?
Well, I know that there's a lot of Indian tribes that were originally from the lower Manhattan, back when it was New Amsterdam in this early 1600s. So, I mean, I liked the fact they weren't talking history up on the Upper West Side. I mean, it's the history is going to be in Manhattan area. So I really liked that they brought the Native American, because, I mean, there's so much history in New York in general. I mean, from the colonies to the Revolutionary to Civil War, it's so much, but to take it so far back, that's the part that I like. So I in like every other episode, I mean, I haven't studied to see if there's, with those particular objects or anything.
Did you know the most important thing about New York City?
Be more specific. What?
It's nothing what you just said. The most important thing in history for New York City.
Enlighten me.
I was born there.
So you were born in New York City?
I was born in New York City, yeah.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah, my dad was stationed at Fort Hamilton, which is in New York City, and I was given birth there. He was in the Army. He was a door gunner for the army in Vietnam.
Wow. I like on helicopter door gunners.
Yeah. Who had the lowest survival rate in Vietnam.
Exactly.
I'm here as a miracle. Basically.
Me too.
Yeah, that's right. Different sort of miracle, but yeah, miracle.
Well, that's good. We're glad you're here. I mean, we need a janitor, so.
Yeah, sure.
Carolyn, what'd you like about this episode?
Well, I like the whole episode because I like the Native American part to it and all the elements and how they played with those and then I liked, Claudia and Artie and this, like, Artie's just so irritated with Claudia, but then as soon as she like leaves for Las Vegas, he's like lonely and he doesn't know what to do. He's like, they both need a challenge. And I think they're really good for each other to challenge each other and to finish each other's thoughts and go, oh, wait, no, I can do this. So I really like that, the play with both of them and how she finishes his chess game for him. She's like,
for his sentence. Nice.
I like glasses. Those are good glasses. I got some
steampunk goggles here, that Claudia also wears.
Yes. While she's trying to repair the warehouse and Lena's over there going, I know what's wrong with you. And she's like, I don't have to like you. She's like, no, but you do.
But you do. Yeah. I like that the dynamic between Artie and Claudia, it just continues to grow. So even what you saw today, like on this episodes where she's finishing his chess, or she takes a couple seconds of looking at him and she can figure it all out really quick and look at the map and she's like, yeah, it's stupid. Why don't you think of it this way? And he's like, he never listened to her and he's like, oh, well, she's kind of right. They do that throughout the entire series.
And the parts where it was like Lena looking at Artie's like, Claudia needs a home. And he's like, this is not the Humane Society.
That's a good part. What about you, SP?
My favorite part about the episode was the fact that they actually smelled fudge.
For the first time.
Oh, yeah. She's like, you're not going to believe this, but I smell fudge.
Yes.
He's like, I'll be right there.
Whoa. I'll be right there. Don't move. And we get Pete touching things again. Pete had to touch the feather because there was a feather stuck in the wall. Of course, Micah was the smart one. She grabs the purple gloves and grabs it and pulls it out of the wall.
And he's like, well, how are you going to know unless we try?
And she's like, well, they all require a human element. She's like, Pete, don't touch it. And he's like, well, we have to figure it out. She's like, well, be careful. How are you going to be careful when you have no idea what this is going to do to you? But go ahead, Pete, touch the feather. Touch the magical feather. And then he ends up going halfway through the wall and coming back out. And he's like, I really want to keep this one.
Yeah. And did no one realize or ever think to ask about his assistant that just disappeared into the wall? They never mentioned him again.
Oh, yeah. The guy that at the end when he's trying to figure out what is it?
Yeah, LaSalle.
What was it? Something at the dawn? Rise to the dawn?
Rise of the dawn.
Oh, no. The truth is in the dawn.
Yeah.
The truth is in the dawn. I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget, and then I forgot to look.
LaSalle never saw the dawn. He had a very long drop.
Either that or he's now permanently part of the wall. Because he was pushed into the wall, and chances are behind the wall is just more wall.
Yeah, and it was never explored. It was like, okay, LaSalle's gone. Whatever.
Yeah, I guess he didn't know the answer.
One of those general casualties that come up in the episodes.
We don't need to explain that.
He was a red shirt. It's okay.
Red shirt.
They happen.
Kind of, but he was ingrained in the history because he was part of the tribe that
Lenape.
He was Lenape. So I just, when you think a little bit farther into this episode, you're like, yeah, I would have written it a little bit differently.
How so?
Well, I wouldn't have left LaSalle in the wall without any sort of, they found him or, yeah. I would have given him a proper farewell, whatever that was.
Given him a good shove out the window so we didn't have to wonder about what happened to him? That's what I would have done.
Yeah, this is a darker series than you think going in because there is this sort of stuff that happens all the time.
Yeah.
You have these artifacts coming online. They are a danger to humanity and bad things actually happen.
And there's consequences if you try to use them for self-use, I guess, whatever.
There are bad people that all they want is the power.
And it's not always obvious. Micah and Pete and Artie are talking about at the beginning. She's like, it doesn't seem warehousey. It doesn't shout warehouse. And Artie's like,
it rarely shouts warehouse. It usually whispers.
And they take it on face value and then they leave and they go to New York.
I love the part where Artie's down there and Claudia and her brother come down and she's trying to get her brother to do something with his life. And he's like, well, forgive me for trying to catch up on the history of the world. And all he's been doing is watching YouTube. And he looks like he just woke up out of bed. And then Artie's like, don't you have like a paper to write on how you hacked into my warehouse?
Yes.
And then, she walks
like,
upstairs. You need to unwire what you've done to my warehouse. And she looks at him. She says, I want to unwire you. And then you just hear Artie, the pitter patter of little feet.
I forgot about that.
The patter. He doesn't say pitter. I checked that. The patter.
Is it?
And it's not little feet, the patter of feet.
Oh, well, I stand corrected.
I don't know why the change in dialogue there, because that's exactly what I'm thinking. And when I watched it the first time, that's what I heard. But then I watched it the second time, I'm like, oh, he didn't actually say that. He said the patter of feet. It's
and I watched it twice and didn't realize that.
Right.
I watched it two separate times because I split the episodes. I actually watched the first half of it earlier in the week. And then only about 6 o'clock did I remember, you know what? Did I watch the end of it? Did I fall asleep? I did fall asleep.
But you've seen it like 12 times. So
I've seen it so many times that now I can watch it on mute. And then I just need to look at it to remember what episode we're on. And honestly, I don't remember episode titles names anyways. So.
No, I don't either. Well, unless it's like good, like Best of Both Worlds, Part 1 and Part 2 and Star Trek and that sort of stuff.
Yes.
Inner Light. I mean, you know what I'm talking about
Inner
when these
Light.
titles come up. All right. So Claudia's brother is using YouTube to catch up on the last 12 years. This is 2009 when this came out. YouTube started in 2005. So there's only 4 years of world history on YouTube for him to catch up on.
But that's a lot, I guess, for someone who's been suspended in time for a while.
Yeah, for 12 years. I mean,
that would make sense why he's tired all the time. I mean, he hasn't been asleep or anything. He's been suspended.
Well, he was awake for 12 years. He didn't go to sleep in that pocket universe.
Wait till you get to HG. She was awake also.
Yeah.
That's true.
For a century.
Yeah. That would definitely screw around with your mind. Just like Artie screwing around with his mind, because the last time he was wrong was June 1987. That's a story I want to see.
I know,
That was pretty good. Speaking of that, I want to come back to that. He's like, no.
We're not going to discuss that. Yes.
We're not discussing that. Yep.
So yeah, I like the fact that you start to see a darker part of like you said earlier, like you start to see the darker part of the artifacts, and that they're not all fun and games like Pete likes to try to make them. The feather looks pretty innocent, but you get to see what it can actually do if you put on the cape, which reminded me an awful lot of Harry Potter.
It did.
Yes.
This is the second episode in a row with a Harry Potter CGI effect. Because last time it was the floating ghosts.
And was this after Harry Potter?
Yes. Harry Potter came out, I want to say 1997. I think the first movie came out in.
Really?
I don't remember. Probably.
I remember looking it up when we were podcasting last week, but I don't remember. I'll look at it in a second.
I like that the sculptures, and actually I looked up the guy, what was his name?
Walter Burley?
Walter Burley. He actually was a sculptor. Walter Burley, the sculptures that he made, and it was rock, wind, fire, and water. I had to make sure I got those right because Micah said earth, wind, and fire. And Pete was like, ooh, I like that band.
Yeah.
But I like that all those sculptures made a map. If you put them the right way, it was kind of neat to to see that, even though it was the obnoxious guy that figured it out. And, also everybody in the secret den in Joe Flanagan's house of all the Native American things where he was trying to figure things out.
It's funny how throughout the entire episode, you want to believe that he's guilty, that he's been doing something wrong, then he's not. And then you're like, oh, he's so cute, I don't believe you. And then he's believable. You're like, okay, I like it.
It's that smile. Smile. Did you catch that when Pete woke up in the hospital after, being his molecules being rearranged, shoved out of the truck by the guy that has the cape on him? He woke up and he said he asked for cookies. He didn't get any cookies.
He didn't get any.
But he asked for cookies when he woke up in the hospital.
And then he flirted with Micah. You're pretty when you smile.
I think he was just complimenting her. I was taking that a little bit different. I was thinking it could have been a flirt moment, but I do think he was just
complimenting her.
I think he was complimenting her because she was going to go on a date.
And she's so grumpy all the time.
But I did like the part where she's like, well, what is it when I'm not smiling? He's like, you're pretty scary. And then
Nurse.
He's like, brain injury.
No, that's my line. He's like, nurse.
He was so funny this episode. Oh, Badgie says I get to stay with the artifact.
Nice defiance badge. Nice.
I have it right here.
For you audio listeners, I'm actually holding up my Defiance Sheriff. Is Sheriff? Yeah.
Yes,
Lawkeeper. Defiance Lawkeeper badge that Shannon bought me at a con.
Actually, I've always wanted to get that as a tattoo.
Well, you still
I want
can.
a badge.
You're right, I can. I've only got 10 of them.
I looked for a badge for Warehouse 13 for sale. I didn't find one. And I did look at the badge, like at the very beginning at the intro. And I looked at it, and then I looked at a real U.S. Secret Service badge. They're close. They are distinctly different. So the badge that you see in Warehouse 13, the actual Secret Service badge that you see in Warehouse 13, it's not a special Warehouse 13 badge. It's a Secret Service badge. It's different than the real life Secret Service badge, which, when you think about it, it's probably a good thing because you don't want a bunch of counterfeiters out there with Secret Service badges.
The Eye of Horus is not going to be on the real one.
No, they have. I'm trying to remember what the real one looks like. It's a different. The Secret Service emblem on the U.S. I want to say on the inside is the same, but it's encapsulated in something different. And then there is a date for the beginning of the Secret Service on the bottom, or UST, I think, for Treasury Department. And on the bottom, there's a date. There is not a date on the Warehouse 13 badge. So those are just some of the differences. If you want to compare and contrast, you can go into it, but it is a separate badge.
Well, they got to make it different. I mean, they're Mrs. Frederick's kids, so they got to have a distinction.
I think it's different, so you just don't counterfeit it to replicate a Warehouse 13 badge like you and me for fans. They don't want that out there. And I thought about buying the actual Secret Service badge because you can get Secret Service badges, replicas, or whatever. And I was like, nah, it's not the same. So I didn't get it.
Again, always going back to how disappointed I am with Syfy's channel of not marketing their shows.
Yes.
It took me forever to find that badge that you have, SP. And I bought 2 of them at the same time, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I bought that at the New York Comic Con, and that was the only thing in the entire building of Defiance.
Conversely, you have stuff like this all over the place. I'm holding up a Coulson badge.
Yeah. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. stuff is everywhere.
I have a mouse pad of Warehouse 13 that I got. But there's just not stuff out there. There was not. Most stuff you find, just like Defiance, any sci-fi show t-shirts or memorabilia that I have, it's made off of Redbubble for people, the fans making it. The show itself sucked. They never marketed their stuff.
Yes. Agreed.
Hey, when's the last time either of you two went to Vegas?
Never been there.
A long time ago.
If I ever go again, I'm taking Claudia with me because that
Right?
girl came back with a lot of cash.
It's just pocket change. It was too easy. She had to come back. It was too easy.
More like they kicked her out for cheating.
I don't think they did.
Probably.
I think she left before she did get found out.
No, yeah, okay. Well, what I'm saying is that she would have figured out how to rig it.
She did rig it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. College funds, yeah. Why would I want to do that?
Did you also, what was funny was when Pete woke up in the hospital and he saw that Joe Flanagan's character, I can't remember the character's name. I just remember Joe Flanagan.
It was actually two different things, right? So in universe, when you're listening to it, it's Jeff Donovan. That's his name.
Is it? Okay.
But he's credited as Jeff Weaver.
Oh. Well, the Jeff, whatever.
So they
Joe
changed
Flanagan's
it in the middle?
character,
That's weird.
where he's in the hospital and he sees that and he looks at Micah like, oh, okay. And then Micah looks at him and he says, hey, he got you a free multi-point inspection. He
'Cause he-
actually owns the
Yeah, he
hospital.
owned it.
Or built it or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So he donates to it. The ward was named after him or something. Yeah, see.
No,
he's a
I
good
think he
guy.
actually owned. I think she said he owns the hospital, but he got Pete a free multi-point inspection to make sure all his molecules were in the right spot.
So I don't think he was injured because he went through the wall. I think of the truck. I think he was injured
when he fell on the
because he
pavement.
landed as the truck was moving onto the
Mhm.
pavement. That's where his injury was. It wasn't actually going through the truck wall.
Never a fun moment. I've done it.
Yeah.
Okay, you can't just leave it there. How did you do this? How did you actually
Well, I
leap from a
wasn't
moving
in-
vehicle?
I wasn't in a vehicle. I was on the hood of a vehicle. Of a
Yeah.
truck.
What were you doing on the hood of a vehicle?
Stupid stuff. I just tell you right now. I
Were
was
you trying to be TJ Hooker going over the hood of the vehicle
more
or
like
hanging
Hunter.
on to it?
More like Hunter and Dee Dee McCall.
Okay.
Okay. I know you remember that show, right? Yes. Carolyn's like, no, I don't know that one. Anyways, my friends and I was probably just maybe a little bit older than Michaela, so I was probably about 14 or 15, just enough to be old enough to be stupid, so I don't know. We were going up and down the street, and it was my oldest sister's boyfriend. He was quite stupid, actually, at the time, too. So, anyways, he dared me, and even at a young age, I challenge accepted. So, I climbed up onto the hood of his car, and we took off up and down the road. And he would slam on the brakes and see if I was hanging on tight enough. And at one point, most of the time I was hanging on up there. Most of the time I was doing pretty good. There was a few times where I went rolling. And
a few times, like the first one wasn't enough to teach you.
I think I did it at least 3.
Oh my
Oh,
god!
jeez.
So
And how many broken bones was in this one?
I did not break bones.
See,
well-
I think the brain injury happened long before 2022.
I don't remember breaking anything. I don't think, but I bruised the crap out of my arms and elbows and my knees. I can tell you that. So
Yeah, that was funny when Artie was trying to call Pete in the hospital, and Pete's like barely able to get out of his hospital bed, and then he pulls on his IV cable and rescues the thing before it falls over, and then slowly climbs to it, and all Artie can say is, "What took you so long?"
right, like I'm not injured in the hospital.
He's like, "I'm injured."
Yeah, and he has to make that leap to catch the IV pole.
Was that the time he was eating a cookie and he went into his hammock, or was that another time?
Artie had 3 cookies. He didn't actually eat them, but there were 3 cookies and a cup of milk on his plate. And he was talking to Pete about Pete going to Joe Flanagan's apartment to do a once-over on it because Micah was keeping him entertained at dinner, in quotes, which is at 3 a.m. And we didn't see him actually eat the cookies, but he did have 3 cookies and a cup of milk. And then he climbed into his hammock.
Where was that room? Where's the hammock? Was that
I don't
in
know.
Lena's B&B, or was that like...
He has a hammock. He has a room at the warehouse.
I think it's upstairs. You know that spiral staircase that's in the warehouse? I think it's up there.
Yeah, he has a bedroom at the warehouse.
Okay.
there's an episode later on, whatever seasons, I can't remember, but there's an episode later on where they use a hairbrush and it changes the colors of like Micah's hair, and it makes you fall asleep. I don't remember all the details, but I know that they woke up together in Artie's bed. Not doing
I remember that.
Yeah, they didn't do it the thing, but they were upstairs. They were upstairs in his bedroom. They're like, oh my god, he's gonna kill us if he finds us in here. So
yes,
it was a good episode.
All right, talking about artifacts, let's talk about the artifacts in the episode here. So we see the feather, right? That's part of the buckskin coat, which is the cloak of invisibility from Harry Potter or whatever, right? That allows you to pass. It
allows you to walk through walls, yeah, or anything. I think it allows you to just walk through solid objects. I don't know as it necessarily has to be a wall, because he walks through a big cave.
He walks through the van. It's just a solid object.
Yeah.
Were the stones that represent rock, wind, fire, and water also artifacts?
I don't think so. They were just to be like the X marks the spot on the map that he created in those sculptures. So I don't think that the sculptures or the stones were actually an artifact. They led to the artifact that was all of the stuff that was in there.
Am I the only one that in my mind went back to Raiders of the Lost Ark as
no.
Harrison Ford is putting the medallion in the right hole, and they find out where the Ark is? Anybody else think of that?
The snake
that eyes. And when he's drinking the cup or the water of eternal life, I'm like, all I could think of is he chose poorly from the Last Crusade. That's all I could think of.
There was that water. There was also the arrow. What did that represent?
The arrow was the earth, so that you could control earth. The stone was to have the strength of 100 men and the earth, or something like that.
No, I thought the arrow was for the wind.
It was like, it was wind. Oh yeah, it was wind. Did anyone else feel the fifth element in this too? Like 4 elements?
You mean like chicken, fifth element, or what?
Yes, like chicken. Good chicken. I got that when he was in there doing all these things, and I'm like, okay, there's all the elements, and you have to do something with them to get the power. So this is totally the fifth element.
I'm a meat popsicle.
Multipass. You know what's hilarious that made me think about the fifth element again today? We had a team building thing today, and you had to have a card in order to do all the events that were around there. So I totally thought of multipass. I have multipass.
Makes you wonder how many of our listeners actually know what the fifth element is.
I think a lot of people know. I mean, it's a pretty iconic. You did not know?
No, how could you not know?
How could you not know?
Yeah, it's pretty iconic. Well, I suppose some people haven't seen it because it is kind of an oddball. It's not hardcore sci-fi. It's
true, but it's good sci-fi.
It's fun, that's for sure.
Yeah, this is multipass.
You know, as the dude is going into the cave, right? He says, just blast it, and I'll take care of the rest. And he's like, well, we'll do jackhammers. And he's like, no, I'll take care of it. So they go down. They see the blast, and he's like, yeah, I got this. And he puts on the cloak. When you see your boss walk through a solid wall of rock, you know what you do? You get the heck out of the planet, because there's bad stuff that's about to happen.
Shit, I've been pissed. If you made me cut through all this rock and all this time, what you've been looking for, all you got to do is walk through it. Give me that vest. That's what I've said.
Yeah,
smashed it.
You can only walk through so much at any one time, because he could have walked through the whole thing. What's
the depth that this thing can walk through? Is it like Nightcrawler, where you have to actually know what you're going through and see these things, or because he teleports through things, or is it like you only can go through 4 feet? Or I mean, what's the depth of this cloak?
And then what keeps you at the same level? Like if you're going through rock, what keeps you from falling down due to gravity?
Right.
Yeah, I don't think these episodes are meant to have this much thought put into them. Probably not. I mean, they were fun sci-fi shows then. I mean, you can't put that much thought into Eureka episodes either. So, I mean,
Eureka was name dropped here, whether you realize it or not. Eureka premiered in
I heard
2006, and then Artie says Eureka, and it wasn't in the show, but it was like Eureka, I got it, sort of thing.
I heard that. I thought of that.
Ah. Well, back to my point. You can't just there's things in Eureka that you're like, what? That you can't do that. That's how these episodes are too. There's things that happen that, like the episode where they had to destroy the chair in the church. Did you really have to beat it that hard to get the springs out? No, you're not going to have to.
But it's
Kill it.
fun
That's true.
with the axe going at it so much.
It was a really dull axe. Nobody had sharpened
You
it
don't
in
have
a
to kill
while.
it that hard,
I mean,
It was a very dull axe.
those fire axes that you happen to have around, they're not exactly, primo stuff.
Let me just go get one off the church wall. Yeah, so
Probably been there since the 1800s.
that could have been the artifact right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could have been the artifact.
Did you guys put any thought into the creative team behind this episode at all?
Nope.
All right. It was directed by Ken Garati, who has 102 directing credits that start in 1985. And just this whole stream of things is just incredible. He did an episode of one of your favorite shows, Shannon, Xena, Warrior Princess. It was season 4, episode 21, The Ides of March.
Oh, that's a good episode. See, now I remember those episodes.
He did 3 episodes of Stargate SG-1, season 1, episode 6, Cold Lazarus, season 9, episode 15, Ethan, and season 9, episode 17, The Scourge. He did 2 episodes of Stargate Atlantis, season 5, episode 3, Broken Ties.
Which is where he met Joe Flanagan.
Yeah, these are 2008, so the Joe Flanagan. And season 5, episode 5, Ghost in the Machine. He did 14 episodes of Vikings.
That's a great series.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love that series.
Well, I watched the first 2 seasons of that and then I lost it. It just lost me.
I never saw the
Didn't watch it
complete
after that.
thing because they took the last half of the final
Exactly.
season and they put it on streaming, and it was before I had cut the cord and gone to streaming. So I've never seen the ending of Vikings.
I am with you the same way. Same way. I saw some big battle in what was her name? Lathica? Yeah.
Yeah, we'll just go
Yeah,
with that.
Yeah. She hadn't been killed yet or made queen yet last time I quit watching it. But I watched like the first 4 seasons, I think, or however many there were. I loved Vikings.
It was a pretty intense series on the History Channel. I think it was one of their last big pushes before they finally gave up on anything.
Yeah, I think I watched the first 2 seasons and then that was
That's
it.
how I am with The Last Kingdom. My sister keeps telling me, she goes, oh my God, you just got to get past the first season, which is like I said to people all the time in the first couple of episodes here. Just get it past the first season and you'll love it. It picks up right up. I'm like, I can't get past like the 4th episode. So I'll take your word for it.
And then the last thing that he has on his directing credits list is 4 episodes of Orphan Black, which you haven't seen that. It's an amazing series, right?
I can't find that anywhere on any streaming anymore.
I had to buy the DVD set in order to get it.
That was
Yeah,
an
that's-
amazing.
That was another
series.
one that I had on my list and never got to see.
You've never
Everybody
seen
tells
any
me
of
it's
them?
really good.
Never?
No,
Any
I
of them?
haven't seen it yet.
Okay, that's your mission. That's your mission now.
In all my spare time.
And
Sure,
all
I'll add it to
Your
the
time
list.
in between all the other things and watching the next episode of this one that's no longer airing, just like that one, you have to watch Orphan Black.
Well, according to the strike that's going on right now, we have some time.
Yes,
And
you do.
even if the strike ends today, we're not going to see content for months.
Yeah, it'll be a while.
Speaking of strike, just for a brief moment, I wanted to thank you for making my little 10-year-old ecstatic.
I didn't make her anything. She actually got ecstatic all on her own.
But you offered, and she
It was very
exploded.
cute.
She exploded around the house.
I sent
Aw.
the message to Sean. I said, hey, we have the strike going on. It's a pre-roll that we're doing on the show to honor the creators and the actors behind the unions that make this sort of stuff happen. And he knew that already. And I said, what do you think about Harry actually doing the pre-roll? He said, that's a great idea. It's like, I'm not making it a requirement or anything. And he's like, no, she'll love doing it. So I hope she had fun doing it.
She did. Thank you.
Okay.
It was very cute.
And then Ken, this was the only one and only Warehouse 13 episode that Ken did, unfortunately, because I think his talent is amazing. And he also did other shows on Syfy like Haven and Killjoys. So he's been around.
I liked both of those.
The writers for this was actually the showrunner, Jack Kinney. We talked about him before. Most notably, Falling Skies, Jessica Jones, and a lot of episodes of Warehouse 13. It was written also, there's story and screenplay in there. I'm just calling it all written. Written by David Simpkins, who has 24 writing credits since 1968. Yes, this was the guy that went back to 1968. We've talked about him before. His first things was like way back in the day, but he's done like Charmed, Roswell, Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman. And then Dana Barretta, I might have gotten that name wrong. 16 writing credits since 1994, including this one episode of Warehouse 13, so we won't see Donna again. And then 3 episodes of Jessica Jones, so around there as well. And of course, I mentioned that Jack Kinney is the showrunner. Has been the showrunner since after the pilot and continues on through the rest of the series. So I think what made this episode so great was Ken. It was Ken and the script, but Ken. And he had a lot to work with, because I think the B story here is Claudia and her brother. And honestly, I wish there was more of that. But I'm like looking at this episode going, I don't know how you cram more of that in, because you have to bring all the New York things through too.
Yep. And it was cool that Artie pulled strings, and his brother, her brother, is now going to work in Switzerland, smashing atoms.
Yep.
Yeah, smashing atoms. Isn't that someplace over there that actually like transported an atom once? I think it was somewhere over there.
I don't know, but when you say that, all I think is Smashing Pumpkins.
Yeah.
It is that time of year, right?
No,
That's
I mean
it's a good band. It's a good band.
Yeah,
it's a good band. I have some of their songs.
Child of the 90s right here.
Right?
We have an important announcement today, and that is we received our first ever fan email.
Yes, we did.
We did.
Read it for us.
It is from Jeff. Let me get my mouse over here.
You said you were going to be ready with this. Come on.
I had it ready. Don't.
Sometimes you just have to do that to him.
It's from Jeff. I'm going to butcher his last name, so I don't even know if I want to try.
Just say Jeff.
Okay.
Hello, Jeff.
He says,
Yeah.
Hello, Jeff. Thanks for the feedback. We appreciate it. Hello, SP, Carolyn, and Captain Bubbles.
I love it. I'm a fan already.
Thank you for reviewing such a favorite show. I find there just isn't enough love for Warehouse 13. I bought all 5 seasons from Amazon when I heard you guys were going to do this.
Cool.
I'm watching the show along with you and keeping it fresh each week. Not liking Doctor Who isn't a bad thing, but ladies, I have a small request. Please try 2 episodes before you give up on it. Season 4, Episode 10, Midnight. It's a great bottle episode that shows some great horror vibes. Season 3, Episode 10, again, Don't Blink. Another fan favorite that introduces one of the Doctor Who's best villains. Can't wait for Claudia to show up next week. Thanks for the cast, Jeff.
That's very cool.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks, Jeff.
Really appreciate the feedback. And
I have watched some of Doctor Who. That's how I got introduced to Torchwood. I just liked Torchwood better. And then I never went back.
It sounds like Jeff's a favorite of the horror side of Doctor Who, which admittedly there's a lot of, and that was kind of how Doctor Who actually started off with the Daleks, and that was big horror sci-fi back then and whatever. I'm not such a fan of the horror. I'll have to admit. Don't Blink. If you ever see Don't Blink, you will never look at another statue the same again. Your whole life will change. So if you don't want that to happen, don't watch Don't Blink.
Well, see, and I'm not a huge fan of horror things. So unfortunately, Jeff, I don't think I will be watching those, but I appreciate your suggestion. However, I have a lot of things on my list and I will work on that.
She's got Orphan Black she has to watch first.
I have a requirement from Shannon.
Yes, but let me tell you how this feeds back into it. Don't Blink was a B movie, by the way. A movie that Joanne Kelly did where it's a horror movie. Just saying.
I see.
Joanne Kelly. It was called Don't Blink.
Don't Blink is one of those episode names that you remember. Like we were talking before about the Interlaid on Star Trek The Next Generation, or Best of Both Worlds,
The Ides
Part
of
1 and Part
March.
2. You know what those episode titles are for. Don't Blink, you instantly know in the history since 1963 of how Doctor Who has evolved. You know that one particular episode of Don't Blink, and he's right. It's one of the main antagonists to Doctor Who in modern era. So they brought forward the Cybermen, they brought forward the Daleks, they brought forward a bunch of stuff. They created the angels. That's what they're called.
I was going to say, are these the weeping angels that you see people dress up as at cons? Okay. I thought that was a Doctor Who thing. I keep seeing them everywhere when I go to cons, but I'm pretty sure I was like pretty sure that's a Doctor Who thing.
I don't think I'm going to spoil anything here. The premise behind them is they can't move while you're looking at them. So as soon as you blink, they will move like the wind,
like
right at you.
Green light.
Oh,
right. Remember the game? Red light, green light.
Red light, green light. Red light, green light.
But you're not watching them.
Totally that.
So you shut your eyes or you look away and you turn around and they're right there, and they look like they're going to attack you.
Yeah, I've seen them.
Creep, you get a little bit closer.
Yep. And they're looking at you for the most part too. And fangs in their teeth and stuff. It's like,
so this would be like the clown in the Poltergeist movies, where you just stare at it long enough, and the next thing you know, it's gone. No, thank you.
Yeah, I probably won't be watching that because I want to be able to sleep.
I'll stick with Torchwood.
But I agree, Jeff. This show definitely does not get the deserve that it deserves, all the attention that it deserves, for sure. So we appreciate.
The Shannon has spoken. You shall try again.
Come on, brain injury. I haven't had my pills, and I'm already slurring my speech, so it's okay. Try it again.
Mine is melty from being outside in the sun all day.
I'm about 2 hours past my medicine, so I'm slurring my speech.
All right. Well, in case we decide to end it here real quick, next week we're going to be watching Warehouse 13, Season 1, Episode 6, Burnout. And the IMDb description for it reads, Pete and Micah hunt for a lethal artifact, but it finds Pete first.
That's a great episode. I remember this one.
As Pete prepares to sacrifice himself, as did the first warehouse agent who recovered it, Micah searches for a way to save him, if she can find him.
I remember this episode. It's a great one. It's got like little metal spine things that attach to your back. It's great.
Oh, yeah. I remember that. Yeah.
It like jumps from person to person.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah. We definitely know, because there are 5 seasons of Warehouse 13, that it all works out okay. But
there are 4 seasons of
There are 4 lights.
There are 4 lights.
There are 4 seasons of Warehouse 13 that is going to be ever credited by me. I'm just saying.
And then your fan canon, your head canon is it ends, and
it stops right there, damn it. And somebody
I'm not going to disagree, because I watched How I Met Your Mother all the way through, and I stopped headcanon at episode 200. I'm like, that's it. I don't need to watch any further. I am good at episode 200, because whatever happens after that is crap.
Sometimes when you have a series,
jump the shark.
What?
Haven't you heard that phrase?
No.
Oh, that's a phrase that a lot of people use when the show goes past its prime. Like, it should have ended, but they just keep going.
Okay.
It's called jump the shark. At least that's what it was called.
So not quite this, but I mean, I think you know where I'm going with this. There's at the end of season 4, they could have ended it the way it was, as is. But then they got renewed, but they only got renewed for 6 episodes. And I think because, like all the other shows we've seen, we come back and they're rushed. Those last 6 episodes, I think they were kind of crap.
Well, you can go at it different ways. We were talking the last time about how Stargate SG-1 ended at season 8 with Richard Dean Anderson and the original crew or whatever, and I was fine with that ending. But then they went on for another 2 seasons. I think the other 2 seasons, although it's kind of hokey with how they forced a new villain in and stuff like that. But those were good seasons overall,
They were.
right?
They were.
So I don't deny them from, okay, we're going to quit and then we continue to go on.
Okay,
So that,
let me rephrase that. I'm not denying you your last whatever episodes of season 5. I'm just saying, for me, as the Bering and Wells fan that I am, they changed it and pissed me off. And the Bering, when they changed the dynamic between Pete and Micah. Pete and Micah have always been best friends. They've always been brotherly and sisterly with each other. And then all of a sudden, because the network was rushed, they decided to make them.
Well, the X-Files did the same thing. And what I was alluding to before with How I Met Your Mother, they read the audience wrong. They had pre-shot the ending and they thought that the show was going to run 3 or 5 years. It ended up in 10 years, How I Met Your Mother. So they get to episode 200 and they know that they have to end it a certain way. And everybody was just pissed at how it ended.
Yeah.
And I refuse to go back and watch. There's some funny episodes in there. Slaps Giving is one of them. Barney Stinson doing the New York Marathon a couple of times. That's hilarious. I just refuse to go back and watch it because it ended so badly. CBS did not decide to change the ending around. They were like, we're going to go with our original conceived ending. The show has evolved well beyond where you were at.
And that's kind of, I think, what happened here, because I don't think at the time that Warehouse 13 ended, the networks were not really LGBT friendly, right? So, but the very next year, you had Wine on Earth come out, and I think they learned their lesson from all the past episodes of other shows, and they were more friendly towards that. Now, I'm not saying that's necessary for a show, because it's not for me, even though I am, right? It's not something I look at. But you had an entire season 3 of Warehouse 13, that they geared the entire season up for Bering and Wells. They flirted with each other. They talked about it. They gave the heart eyes. They did everything. Jack Kinney flirted with it, wrote about it, but then the actual actresses, Joanne Kelly and Jamie Murray, they took it upon themselves to make it more appear more on. I mean, they did everything and made a complete fangirl out of me. But the networks back in what year is 2014? The networks would not allow them to have a same-sex couple. Wouldn't do it.
Yeah, and a similar sort of thing happened in BSG as well, near the end of that
Towards
series.
the end of it.
Yeah.
So, but putting Pete and Mike together were not. I mean, throughout the entire series, they were brother and sister. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, and I'm like, schmucks.
Well, we have a few months before we get there, so just enjoy what you got.
I'll remind you. But
yeah, right.
Just thank you for buying all 5 seasons to watch with us. That's pretty amazing,
right?
That's expensive because they're running like about $25 a season, so it's like $125.
No, they're not, because you could buy an entire season. I think I paid $12 for the second season of Warehouse 13 on Amazon. You could buy them under $20 off Amazon now. Not back then when I bought the box sets at Best Buy, $50 a shot. Yeah.
I guess it depends on if you bought the digital ones or if you bought the physical copies. Because the complete series Blu-ray is $51, but I am buying it digitally, which is incredibly more expensive.
I bought the actual.
Yeah, I bought the digital one too, just because I needed to watch it right away. So I couldn't wait for it to ship to me. Plus, it's a lot easier to hit the button to stream it than to grab my DVD and try to make it work.
It is true, but you know what? I have somewhere in my house. I have all 5 seasons, and when we first started in this, I could not find season 1 and 2. They're here somewhere, but I'm like, screw it, I'll just buy more.
So
I'll buy more.
The DVD set is $37 on Amazon right now. So
which season? Because I didn't pay that.
The complete series is $37.
Series, yes. Because I'm like, I paid like $12 or something. So yeah.
Let's see. Season 2 HD is $25 on digital streaming.
Yeah. That's about. I think I paid I think mine was 23 or something. It was around that 23, 25.
Yeah, so long gone are the days where you have to buy the actual box set and pay $50 or $70 at Best Buy.
Yeah.
Remember that was the only place you could buy them or something like that. And I think I told you the story once before that I was pregnant with Michaela, and I just had discovered Stargate SG-1. I just discovered it. So I'm like, okay, so like you do most times when you find a new show, you're like, well, I want the DVDs. I want to watch them, right? And I found all 10 seasons for $150.
So last time there was a strike in Hollywood, it was 2007, and it was about DVD rights back then. And now you fast forward to 2023, you have companies like Disney who are actively trying to not publish the actual DVDs anymore. I'll give you a great example with Paramount, with the Star Trek series, the animation series Prodigy. They only had the first half of the DVD. That canceled the series after season 1. Their season 2 is still to come out, and they only had the first 10 episodes, which was half of their season 1 out. So you had no way of getting that second half of the season. Willow is another example. It was canceled, and you can't buy the physical media anywhere.
No, they took it off Disney Plus too. They literally took it off. You can't even stream it.
Right. That was my point. You can't stream it anymore, and you can't buy the physical media because it's not there.
Yeah, it's like it never existed.
The only way you can get to it now is by pirating it. If you want to watch it, you can only pirate. Now, I don't pirate anything at all. So I'm not going to do that. I will exhaust every opportunity to buy it legally, just like we did here with Warehouse 13, because I want to support everybody that went into it.
Right.
But if you make it impossible, like Game of Thrones, for instance, they made it impossible for some people to watch it because they didn't have the ability to have HBO on any stream. It was before HBO was able to stream. So the only way those people could watch it was by pirating it. And we're back to that now. Big mistake, all across the board, in my opinion, with the studios.
Let me tell you something about Game of Thrones. That's another series that I watched almost all of it I think I skipped like the last 3 seasons of Game of Thrones. Only because at the time that I was watching HBO, I remember I was in the hospital having Michaela. So this was a long time ago, 2010. And I switched over to the Star Channel because I wanted to see Spartacus with Jamie Murray. So there went, and of course I stayed because I love Outlander. It was a win-win, but I never went back to HBO. But now I have it. And then of course they took the other show that I like to watch called The Nevers. I really like that. If you've ever seen it, it only lasted for a couple episodes, but it was so full of steampunk. It was a detective show, and it was all about girls, and it was such a show for me.
Never had HBO, so
they took it from me.
Before we end tonight, I have been rating these episodes as we go along, so I just want to continue that to make sure that the streak continues. The last time I said Claudia was my number 1 episode, followed by the pilot, Magnetism, and Resonance. Resonance. Yes. And I will put Elements as the number 2. So it's behind Claudia, ahead of the pilot for me, because it was just a fun episode.
It was a fun episode.
It was.
We didn't have a lot of artifacts. We didn't have a lot of tools. We didn't talk about any tools because there were no tools used. There were no artifacty tools that were used in this one.
True.
Just good old fashioned, like twist the thing on twist the sculpture on the door to open the door. That's not an artifact. That's not a tool.
I don't think I ever rate the episodes. I mean, there's things about it that I like, but obviously because I watched the series so much, and it's just one of those. For me, it's a series that it doesn't matter what episode I put on. I just throw it on just because I want to have it and go in the background. But I don't rate the episodes from best to last or favorite to. I mean, I like all of them. I just like the progression of each series and how they become less of 2 people that don't even like each other really when they're protecting the president. She don't even like him, right? Can't stand him. He's like, yeah, whatever, but I'm okay. But then they start becoming a friendship, and then the partnership, and then all of them together. Because like right now, Artie doesn't even like hugs. Why are you people always hugging each other? But as the series goes on, I like the family unit that they developed at Lena's.
Yes.
So for me, judging it and liking it less or not, it's just for me, it's always the progression of the family unit that they become.
Well, it's huge in a lot of the stories that we like is found family. That's what you title what's going on, found family. And I definitely like that with this. Eureka's the same way. It's found family.
Carolyn, what other movie do you know that I love that I would put in the background just to listen to it? Do you know this?
Oh, yeah. It's
The Martian, right?
Song. No.
Totally The Martian.
Not The Martian.
Crap. You're going to ask me and I'm going to forget.
I'm going to ask you because it's not a whole lot of people that listen to me that know me.
It's the song that I always send you when I hear it going. What is that song? What is that movie?
Mary Poppins?
No. That is a good one, though.
It's got a Native American. It's not Native American. It is. What is that?
It has Native Americans in it, but it
has Native Americans in it, and he will find her.
Lewis in it,
and he will find her.
I will find you. Stay alive.
I will find you forever.
What is
that movie?
Last of the Mohicans.
No, Last of the Mohicans.
I was close.
It was right there.
That is there. Sean's like, I don't know why you watch something so depressing. They all die. I'm like, there's lots of things that people die in all the time. It's a war movie. I mean, you tell me you're watching, you're not going to watch any John Wayne because someone's going to die in it? That's stupid. Of course they're going to die. It's a war movie, right?
See, I knew the movie. I just couldn't think of the title.
I knew you knew it. But that is Last of the Mohicans. I first discovered that movie when I was in 10th grade in history class. And then we got halfway through it, and then the principals made us turn it off because it was too gory or violent. But we watched Glory in 8th grade. I'm like, what the heck is happening here?
Wait, you can watch Glory, but not the Last of the Mohicans?
With Matthew Broderick, but when I was in middle school, but in high school, they made us take out Last of the Mohicans.
We watch Glory every year on the 4th of July at the Air Force Academy because yeah, I know it's summer. Well, I mean, it's a good movie, but
it is a good movie. It's not Last of the Mohicans' good movie, but it's a good movie.
And I have no idea why we're showing Glory because that has nothing to do with the Air Force at the Air Force Academy. It just boggled my mind. I didn't understand it, but I got burned out on it after that.
Yeah, I can see why.
I've never burnt out on Last Mohicans. I like the soundtrack.
Anytime my Pandora shuffles on it when I'm at work, I'll take a picture of the screen and I text it to Shannon. Hey, Shannon, guess what's playing on my Pandora?
I have that soundtrack on my.
I know you do.
On my. So
I think I do too. I'm pretty sure I have that song or something like that.
I just love the movie. I love people. I can't imagine people not listening don't know who I am or know what I'm talking about because out of our 15 listeners a week.
All two.
We have dozens of listeners.
We have dozens.
We have Jeff. And we have Mike.
So
from
Jeff,
Twitter.
Let me explain to you who I am.
He knows who you are. You're Captain Bubbles.
Yeah, you're Captain Bubbles.
You're Captain Bubbles.
Who not only do I love sci-fi.
I did not name you Captain Bubbles, by the way. I got accused of naming you Captain Bubbles on the other podcasts, on the Strange New World podcast. That was not me.
I don't know.
That was before I got on Strange New World.
Wasn't it Sean?
It wasn't me.
I thought it was Sean.
I think it was a listener.
It was in season 1 of Strange New World.
We had a listener named me Captain.
Oh, okay.
I'll take it. But not only am I a sci-fi person who has very selective sci-fi, right? I'm not going to watch all of it. No. Okay? But I love history. And when you throw them together, that's steampunk. And I love steampunk. See? Steampunk gigantic tattoo right there, right? Which is also why I love the Nevers. I like next time I'm going to show up on this podcast with my steampunk hat on and my goggles that you showed me right there.
I love the goggles. Those are awesome. I love those.
But in that movie, I like Revolutionary War time frame. And that is just before, because that is the reason that you had the Revolutionary Wars, because the French and Indian War, because they needed to, the British needed to earn their money back. So that's why they started taxing people. So you get a history lesson when you didn't even know you're going to get one when you come to this podcast today, but there it is.
What do you mean? We have a whole history section. We've been doing history for the last 4 episodes.
I know, it's awesome.
Okay, a couple of things. First of all, favorite movie that I can have on the background at any point in time. I mentioned you for The Martian because that is the movie that I watch in the background all the time. The Martian.
That makes sense.
Carolyn, what is your movie that
The
you have on
Martian.
the background? What's your comfort food movie?
The Princess Bride.
Really? That's awesome.
Yeah,
I like it.
it is.
I like it.
I love that movie. And it's just like, if I need a movie to watch and I really want something to watch, it
Girly.
is The Princess Bride.
Oh, it doesn't matter if it's girly or not. It's anybody
I
can
love
watch
that
it.
movie. No more rhymes now. I mean it.
Inconceivable. It's perfect for guys too.
Inconceivable.
Marriage.
Marriage.
You know, honestly, I have never been a big fan of the movie. I have been forced to watch it. Yes, I don't know if the girls have watched it. I don't know.
I think Michaela's supposed to watch it for 80s cheese
I
movie.
think as soon as they do that, I'm like, I am all in. I
I'm
am
sorry.
all in.
She's seen it before and she doesn't like it, I think.
I just don't like it. I don't know what do you call the kind of comedy? I don't like Jim Carrey at all. Like, I won't watch my sister can
I
sit and
can't
laugh.
stand some of those. No,
She
I
can
like
sit and
Liar,
laugh
Liar.
Dumb and Dumber or Liar.
No.
And I'm like, I can't even I got halfway through the part where he's drinking his own piss from the bottom. Like, I'm done. I'm out. I'm gone. But I like the Grinch because I can't see his actual face. It's great. Okay. I love Lucy. That's slapstick, right? But I don't
I
like.
think that's why I like Liar, Liar, because it's like slapstick kind of thing. I did like his Truman Show. The Truman Show was pretty good.
I would never go back and watch Ace Ventura. That was just
No,
I
I
The
watched
first
that
one or
that
the
was
second
good.
one?
either.
Either.
I'm telling you, Jim Carrey wise, I only like the Grinch.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you like There's Something About Mary?
I like that movie.
Shannon doesn't look like she did. They both had the
I
same
didn't
kind of
complete
vibe.
it. I know that's
Yeah.
the one where you put the white stuff in the hair.
Yeah. I thought it was funny.
Yeah, it seems like the stupid comedy rom-coms you don't like. Like, you wouldn't like, what was the other one? There's
I
something
was just
about
trying
Mary
to find the word about it.
and the wedding singer. That's another one that
I
you
like that
probably
movie
wouldn't like.
too.
But you probably would
I don't
like
think I've
50
seen
First
that.
Dates.
I love 50 First.
I love
Okay.
50 First Dates.
My favorite part of that movie, and it's okay. You're both gonna know what I mean when I say it's so me. It's so me. The part where they're pretending like they're broken down on the side of the road, and she's like, "Hang on, let me go back and get him." And she chases after him and beats him with that. Is that not me? Is that not me? That's totally me, right?
you.
That's totally me.
That
I
is
love
totally
50
you.
First Dates. So so what is this? So I like that's slapstick, right?
It's not slapstick. It's funny comedy, but it's not
Yeah.
slapstick comedy.
It's not slapstick. It's not something about Mary slapstick.
But
kind
I
of
Love
comedy.
Lucy.
Yeah, but that's a different kind of comedy too.
That's 50s. Yeah, it's
Okay.
just different.
That's 50s. But it's funny, and I
Well,
loved
I
I
can
Love
sit and watch
Lucy.
I Love Lucy all day long.
It's the embarrassment, stupid slapstick comedy. Like, I Love Lucy, you're not embarrassed by. You're just rolling with it. But like Ace Ventura, you're embarrassed by it. It's like,
I can't stand
Yeah.
it.
I can't. I don't. I can't do it. I can't do Dumb and Dumber. I
I'm
just.
such a snob when it comes to movies too. Like I wouldn't watch. Last year I watched the Thor movie with
which one?
the last one he
Right.
did.
Okay.
Right. So I'm like hearing great reviews in it, and you get to see his bare ass. I'm like, this horrible. It's a horrible.
You flicked too hard.
You flicked too hard.
I hated it.
I didn't mind it.
Well, there was a part that I didn't mind, but okay. But I wouldn't mind Micah's outfit either.
Okay. So the other thing you mentioned is you don't rate the episodes, and you don't have to rate the episodes. But one thing that I remember from all the series that I've watched seriously, Arrow, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Star Trek The Next Generation, I can name the top 5 episodes. Star Trek The Next Generation, All Good Things, The
Yep.
Inner Light, Best of Both Worlds, Part 1 and Part 2, and Yesterday's Enterprise. Top 5 episodes right there.
We're sci-fi geeks. We were pointing each other on the camera. There are 4 lights.
That
There are
wasn't one of the
4
episodes I said, but that could be number 6 too,
I know,
right?
but you said inner light, so we automatically went 4 lights.
Yeah,
It's
there
just
you go.
Star
Yeah.
Trek thing.
Although I did really love Inner Light. That was one of my favorites. The flute
Inner Light's the one with the
music
flute,
was
right? Yep.
beautiful. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Patrick Stewart is, he was the perfect casting for that role of captain on Star Trek Next Generation. But
most definitely.
his Shakespearean acting really came through with that. I'm
Oh,
so glad that he
yeah.
made the jump over from his
most definitely.
acting over across the pond to Hollywood.
I loved All Good Things. I liked the interaction between Crusher and Picard. Like when she's always taking care of him, and they would never really cross that line because again, another show that they weren't allowed to cross the line back then.
Mm-hmm.
That where she just leans him and kisses him and says a lot of things could happen in 25 years, and then bam, here we are 25 something years later, and she's like,
"There's a kid."
Kept a kid from him.
What about Laris? What about Laris?
I know. What the heck? Where's Laris?
What the hell?
All right. Well, we've all talked out of Warehouse 13. We've all talked about everything else too. So I think I'm going to call it for the night if you two ladies are okay, unless there's anything else you need to say.
I got medicine to
Well,
go take.
I was going to say that I really love the part too where Artie and I just forgot her name again.
Claudia?
Micah?
Lena. Claudia. Dang it. This is my brain. Well, Artie and Lena were on the floor with a bunch of books spread out trying to figure out the Indian legends and the creation myths and everything. And I'm like, I think it's Claudia that helps them figure out the better way to do this so they can use more computers and stuff. And I was just, it made me remember all of the projects and history reports and all the other things that I had to do when I was younger, and I'd have everything spread out on the floor. Because, that's how you did research. There wasn't Google.
It was also
then.
kind of funny watching him lay on his stomach on the floor, like he expected to see the milk and cookies beside him, right?
Yes, I was like, "Where's the milk and cookies?"
Yep.
So Jeff, thank you so much for your email. Really appreciate it. You have no idea how much all three of us were like, yeah. Matter of fact, even Shannon's husband, Sean, was like, dude, I can't believe you got an email. This is so awesome.
I know people love us. Actually, just love the show, but we love that you like us, so it's okay.
So if you want to send us an email, it's warehouse13fancast@gmail.com. The 13 is the number 13. So warehouse13fancast@gmail.com. Shannon will get it and she will send it to all of us.
And then we will read it on our podcast.
Will I?
Well, I got it somehow.
You got 40, yeah.
We're also available on the X, and Syfy Girl is over there that Shannon...
Syfy Girl's on Twitter still. I refuse to call it X. It's stupid.
I am going to call it X because that is the official app name. And then we also have Carolyn on there at Ocean363. So we really appreciate hearing from you. I know it really lights up Shannon and Carolyn, and I'll admit it was pretty cool getting that email too, Jeff. So thank you guys very much for all your tweets. Because I don't even know what to call it on the X. So
well, we have David that tweets us a lot too.
X's and O's? No, we're not doing that. No. Stupid.
What do you mean?
There's a David on Twitter, X, whatever we're calling it. The application formerly known as Twitter. He tweeted out, I think it was Monday because he had a bank holiday, that he was going to listen to our podcast. So thank you, David, for listening to our podcast. And
I think it was Mike, wasn't it?
His name is Mike.
Eric.
I'm so sorry, Mike.
I'm
sorry.
Mike, you've just been someone. I know you'll get that reference.
Yes, I'm sorry. Send me hate mail. I'm suck.
Warehouse13 at Fancast. Warehouse13fancast@gmail.com.
Or just, tweet me because it's fine. You know where we're at. So
we got to go because Shannon is needing her medicine. So
my lips are numb.
Till next week. I'm the Janitor SP.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Thanks for joining us for an episode of the Artie's Attic Warehouse 13 Fancast. You can find all our episodes at warehouse13fancast.com. If you'd like to contact us, you can hit us up on our email at warehouse13fancast@gmail.com. We are a part of the Lone Wolf Podcast Network. You can hear more of this cast and other shows like it by checking out lonewolfpodcasts.com. The intro music is Sci-Fi Hybrid Intro by Soundmake, and the outro music is Science Fiction by Tunes to Go. Both were purchased on pond5.com. But
I
Pete,
did like. Sorry, go ahead.
you trump me every single time, so you go.
No, I don't. I don't want to interrupt
Shannon
you.
Trump. Yeah, okay. Production note: Shannon trumps both of us. So if Shannon's talking, we both shut up. If Shannon's not talking and we're both talking, you keep talking, I will shut up. That's how this works.
That's
Yes,
not how
but
it
you
needs
have
to go.
valid points too. So I don't want to.
I will get my points in. Don't worry about
Hey,
it.
look,
Okay.
I'm scratching my nose on the microphone.
And don't
Stop
complain
it,
to me
Law.
about your microphone smelling
Stop
in
it,
5
Law.
months from now.
Stop bumping your microphone, Law.
This is the only time I get to use this one. He uses it for everything else,
You have one of your own, by the way.
but he hasn't set it up.
I know.